So what if your project is worth $1 billion? Kids don't owe you anything. They can scatter their toys wherever they want. That was my sister's voice, sharp, mocking, right after her son slammed his toy truck into my laptop screen. My name is Michael Grant, and that was the exact second my family stopped being my family. The screen went black. A thin crack ran through it like a fault line. My work, 3 years of nights, contracts, code, investor decks, gone in one careless smash. I stared at the broken laptop, still open on the dining table. My parents didn't even look at it. You shouldn't have left it where a child could reach, my father said calmly. My mother nodded. You know how kids are. My sister smirked. Don't be dramatic, Mike. You can just buy another one. Buy another one. That laptop held the only local build of a prototype investors were flying in to see on Monday. No cloud backup. No second copy. I had been careful everywhere else except here. At home. With them. I stood up slowly. My hands were shaking, but my voice wasn't. You know that laptop was my work. My sister shrugged. Work is work. Family comes first. That's when I walked into the garage. Not angry. Not shouting. Focused. I picked up a hammer from the tool bench and felt its weight settle into my palm. Solid. Certain. Behind me, I heard my mother laugh nervously. Michael, what are you doing? I turned back toward the house. And when they realized what I was about to protect, and what I was willing to destroy instead, their smiles vanished. I didn't go back inside right away. I stood at the threshold of the garage, hammer in hand, staring through the glass doors where my family was still laughing, like nothing had happened. My laptop was just a casualty in their never-ending war for attention. They thought I wouldn't do anything. Because I never had. I always kept quiet. Paid their bills. Took my nephew to soccer. Fixed Dad's car. Lent Mom money when she forgot to pay her card. Bought my sister's groceries when she said the government check was late again. But the $1 billion project? That was mine. The one thing I'd never let them touch. Until today. I stepped inside. Walked right past them. And with zero hesitation, smashed the already broken laptop into pieces on the dining table. The sound was volcanic. Everyone jumped. Michael, my mother screamed. My sister dropped her glass. Are you crazy? I didn't flinch. I stood over the table, still holding the hammer, staring at what used to be my life's work. The room went silent. You think I care about this machine? I said, my voice calm. You think that's what I'm grieving? They blinked. I pointed at the wreckage. I'm grieving the years I wasted thinking this house was safe. Thinking you all were safe. Then I turned around. And walked out the front door. Leaving more than just the laptop behind. I stayed in a hotel that night. A cheap one. No laptop. No chargers. No distractions. Just 4 walls, a notepad, and the heavy silence that follows betrayal. I wasn't mourning the lost work anymore. I was mourning me. The version of Michael who tolerated it all. That version died with the laptop. The next morning, I filed my resignation from the shared family phone plan. Cut off the streaming services they were using under my name. Canceled the auto debit for my sister's rent. But that was just cleanup. The real move? I activated something I never thought I'd use, Project Raft. It was a fail-safe, something I'd built years ago when I first started pitching to investors. A private cloud mirror that synced silently with my development drive anytime I connected to certain networks. I never told anyone about it. Not even my co-founder. That morning, I accessed it through a public library computer, heartbeat pounding. And when I logged in, everything was there. Every file. Every line of code. Even the pitch deck. I sat back, exhaled, and smiled for the first time in 24 hours. I didn't need my family's apologies. I needed a clean stage. And as I opened my inbox and saw the calendar invite from Venture Line Capital, Monday meeting confirmed, I realized something. The universe hadn't taken anything from me. It had stripped away what I didn't need, right before the spotlight hit. And now, I was going to walk on stage alone. Sunday morning, I walked into the investor pitch with nothing but a flash drive, confidence, and a clean slate. No distractions. No background noise. Just me and the thing I'd built with blood. The room was filled with suits and silence. I recognized 3 of them from LinkedIn. 2 had already passed on my pitch 6 months ago. But now, they were all leaning forward. The moment I started speaking, everything clicked. The prototype demo worked flawlessly. The financials hit hard. By the time I laid out the 10-year roadmap, I could see the expressions shift, respect, maybe even awe. After the Q&A, one of the senior partners leaned back, arms folded. Why'd your last pitch go quiet, Michael? We thought you ghosted us. I met his gaze. Family got in the way. I've since made adjustments. He nodded once. Then smiled. Let's talk numbers. By that afternoon I had a signed term sheet. $14 million seed round. No family. No noise. No mess. I left the meeting and sat in my car for 10 minutes. Not crying. Just breathing. Remembering that silence can be powerful when it's finally yours. But my next move wasn't about business. It was personal. I still had keys to my sister's apartment. She never changed the locks even after all this. And inside her apartment? A lot of things she'd forgotten I'd bought. TV, couch, washer, dryer, even the refrigerator. If I was done funding them, it was time I took everything back, piece by piece. She was out when I arrived. A sticky note on the door said, "Be back by 5. Don't lock the bottom." Typical. I walked in and stood in the middle of her living room. That couch? I bought it. The smart TV? My credit card. The kitchen appliances? Every single one, me. And now that I'd stopped paying her rent, eviction wasn't far behind. But I wasn't cruel, just precise. I hired 2 movers same day. They were shocked how easy it was. Just this list, I told them, handing over an itemized breakdown with receipts. Every item on it was purchased by me. No shared ownership. She never paid me back. By the time she got back at 5:07, the living room was stripped bare. All that remained was the rental carpet, a single folding chair, and a utility bill on the floor. Her eyes widened. What the hell? You didn't want to respect my boundaries, so now you live inside them, I said quietly. She tried to argue, but I handed her copies of the receipts. This isn't revenge, I told her. This is repossession. She called my mother, called my dad, called everyone. They blew up my phone. I didn't answer, because at that very moment I was finalizing my co-founder agreement with a new partner, someone who actually respected my work, someone who wasn't family. And as I clicked send on the signed document, a message popped up on my phone that made me pause. From Dad, we need to talk. No. I didn't respond. Not immediately. Instead, I let the message sit, glowing on my screen like an alarm I refused to snooze. For years, I jumped the second they needed something. This time I took a shower, made a meal, finished 3 paragraphs of a new pitch deck. Only then did I reply, "What's this about?" His response came in seconds. "Your sister's being evicted. And your mother is having a breakdown. Fix it." No hello. No acknowledgement of the chaos they caused. Just orders. I texted back, "They're grown adults. Let them solve grown problems." 10 minutes later, my doorbell rang. It was Dad. His tie was loose, his eyes puffy like he hadn't slept. He didn't look angry. He looked scared. "Michael," he said, voice low, "your mom fainted at work. Hospital said stress." I didn't say anything. "She's not eating. Not sleeping. She's blaming herself for everything." "She should," I replied. "For once she should." He sat down on the bench outside my apartment door, holding his head in his hands. "You can't leave us like this." "I didn't," I said. "You pushed me." He was silent. Then he looked up and said something I never thought I'd hear. "We need you back. For the company. For the family." And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about Mom. It was about the business. And he had no idea what I'd just finalized with his biggest competitor. "You handed everything to Claire," I said, folding my arms. "She trashed it. And now you want me to rebuild it." Dad hesitated. "We didn't know she was a child with a tantrum and a platinum card? You didn't know?" He looked away. "I'm not your fixer anymore, Dad," I said. "That position's been filled." His brow furrowed. "What does that mean?" I pulled out my phone and showed him the signed agreement. The competitor's logo glared back at him, bright, final. "Regal Systems," he muttered. "You partnered with them? They offered me respect. You offered me cleanup duty." He stood like someone had just ripped his spine out. "They're our biggest rival." I corrected. "You'll be lucky if they leave you with shelf space." He looked like he might say something, apologize, beg, threaten, but he didn't. Instead, he walked down the hallway without a word, got in his car, and drove off. And for the first time in my life, my father left the conversation defeated. That night, my sister called. Voicemails. Crying. Accusing. "You destroyed everything," she sobbed. "We were family." I listened to the whole thing, then deleted it. Because family doesn't watch you burn and call it warmth. The next morning, Regal Systems posted the press release. Innovator Michael Grant joins Regal Systems as CTO of new AI division. I didn't share it. I just waited. Because I knew they'd all see it anyway. The press release did more than make waves, it set off a tsunami. By noon, my LinkedIn inbox was full. Old college classmates, former bosses, angel investors who once passed on me. Everyone suddenly remembered my name. But the messages that hit hardest came from my family. Mom first, why didn't you tell me? Then Claire, you humiliated us. Publicly. Then Dad, short and sharp, you've made your point. Congratulations. But I wasn't looking for applause. Just silence. I spent the evening in my new apartment. My space, my rules, drinking tea by the window, watching the city blink with possibility. I didn't hate them. I just no longer needed them. What they gave my sister out of favoritism, I earned through rejection. What they mocked as overreacting, I turned into power. What they thought was weakness, was just me getting quiet enough to hear my own voice again. Weeks later, I got one final email. It was from the board of my father's company. They were voting him out as CEO. I didn't reply, but I read it twice, because sometimes the loudest revenge is no revenge at all, just success that doesn't wait for permission. That night, I looked out at the skyline thinking about everything I lost, and how little of it I missed. My name is Michael Grant, and I was never meant to belong in that family. I was meant to outgrow it.